Enter player 1.
The Princess Bride, a fairy tale for the cynical and the sentimental alike, a review requested by the ever-discerning Kimberloon. And yes, you too can shape my viewing schedule by leaving your requests in the comments, assuming your taste is impeccable as theirs. Once upon a time, because that's how these things are supposed to begin, there was a movie that defied genre, mocked conventions, and still somehow managed to be one of the most heartfelt, quotable, and endlessly rewatchable films ever made. The Princess Bride 1987 is not just a fairy tale, it's a story that knows it's a story, told through layers of irony, sincerity, and swordplay so perfectly balanced it could only be described as inconceivable. Directed by Rob Reiner and based on William Goldman's novel, The Princess Bride is the rare kind of film that makes you laugh at its own absurdity, even as it genuinely moves you. It's a movie for the romantics, the cynics, and the people who can't decide which one they are, a category that conveniently includes most of humanity. As you wish, love, adventure, and other incurable diseases. At its heart, The Princess Bride is the love story of Buttercup, Robin Wright, and Wesley, Cary Elwes. She's a farm girl with a penchant for ordering people around. He's a servant with the patience of a saint and the smirk of someone who knows he's about to become a legend. Their love is pure, simple, and immediately doomed, which of course makes it far more interesting. Wesley sets off to make his fortune, promising to return. Instead, word arrives that his ship was attacked by the dread pirate Roberts, a man famed for leaving no survivors. Buttercup mourns, as one does when their true love is killed by a pirate, and in her grief agrees to marry Prince Humperdinck, Chris Sarandon, a man whose very name sounds like a dental procedure. But Wesley, being a romantic lead and therefore immune to death, returns in disguise as the dread pirate Roberts himself. What follows is an odyssey through fire swamps, cliffs, sword fights, rodents of unusual size, and the kind of wit that could cut sharper than any blade. The perfect blend of sincerity and snark. One of the miracles of The Princess Bride is that it manages to parody fairy tales while still being one. It mocks tropes but never despises them. It tells you that true love is ridiculous and then makes you believe in it anyway. When Wesley and Inigo Montoya duel atop the cliffs of insanity, the scene isn't just thrilling, it's choreographed poetry, brimming with respect and humour. I am not left-handed remains one of cinema's greatest mid-fight reveals. Their duel is less about killing and more about the joy of matching wits, a dance between equals who recognise greatness in each other. Goldman's screenplay walks a tightrope between absurdity and depth. The dialogue sparkles with the kind of rhythm that could only come from someone who understands both how humans talk and how they wish they talked. Every line feels sculpted for memory, never going against a Sicilian when death is on the line. Have fun storming the castle. Life is pain, Highness. Anyone who says differently is selling something. And, of course, Inigo Montoya's immortal declaration. Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. A line so powerful it transcends parody, repeated so often it should have lost meaning, yet somehow never does. A cast worthy of legend. It's difficult to imagine The Princess Bride without its specific cast, each one tuned perfectly between camp and conviction. Cary Elwes delivers Wesley with the effortless charm of Errol Flynn, filtered through dry British irony. Robin Wright, in her breakout role, embodies both fragility and strength. Buttercup may start as a damsel, but by the end, she's a survivor who refuses to stay helpless. Mandy Patinkin's Inigo Montoya is pure cinematic magic. His quest for revenge could have been cliché, but Patinkin infuses it with soul. When he finally confronts the six-fingered man, you feel every ounce of pain, every year of obsession, every tear he's swallowed. And when vengeance is finally his, the emptiness that follows is almost unbearable. That's what makes the performance human. He got his justice, and it still hurts. And then there's Andre the Giant. His portrayal of Fezzik, gentle, loyal, and slightly confused, is one of the most lovable presences in film history. There's a sweetness in his eyes that belies his massive frame, and every line delivery feels like a hug wrapped in a punchline. Christopher Guest's Count Rugen, the aforementioned six-fingered man, is one of cinema's most quietly terrifying villains, a man whose calmness is far more unsettling than any snarl could be. And Wallace Shawn's Vizzini? Well, Inconceivable barely covers it. The framing device, a story within a story. The brilliance of The Princess Bride isn't just in its narrative, it's in how that narrative is told. The story is framed by a grandfather, Peter Falk, reading the book to his sick grandson, Fred Savage. At first, the boy is disinterested. This isn't a video game, after all. But as the story unfolds, he's drawn in despite himself. That framing device transforms The Princess Bride into something deeply nostalgic. It's a movie about stories themselves, why we tell them, and how they connect us. The grandfather's voice becomes the heartbeat of the film, a reminder that even in an age of cynicism and screens, the act of sharing a story can still feel magical. By the end, when the boy asks his grandfather to read it again, it's not just sentimentality. It's an acknowledgement that good stories don't age, they evolve with us. We outgrow fairy tales, and then, if we're lucky, we grow back into them. Why it still works. Decades later, The Princess Bride fageless because it never relied on its era. There's no trendy slang, no pop culture references, just timeless humour, practical effects, and genuine heart. Modern audiences still quote it, meme it, and reference it because it taps into something fundamental, our craving for sincerity wrapped in wit. The movie gives you permission to laugh at romance while still craving it, to acknowledge that heroes are ridiculous, but to love them anyway. It's a balance few modern films manage. In an age where everything is either painfully earnest or soaked in irony, The Princess Bride reminds us that you can have both. You can believe in true love and admit that it's absurd. That's not hypocrisy, that's humanity. Technical brilliance disguised as simplicity. The film's production design and cinematography might seem quaint today, but that's part of its charm. Its sets look like fairy tale illustrations brought to life, intentionally artificial yet dreamlike. The music by Mark Knopfler of Dire Straits fame is simple but haunting, weaving wistfulness and whimsy together like a lullaby sung through a smirk. And Rob Reiner's direction? Flawlessly invisible. He never gets in the way of the story, which is exactly what this story needs. Every shot, every edit, every pause in dialogue is perfectly timed. Not flashy, just right. A legacy, written in quotes. It's impossible to overstate The Princess Bride's cultural impact. It's one of those rare films that transcends its genre to become part of our shared language. Everyone knows something from it, whether it's As You Wish, Inconceivable, or Prepare to Die. But beyond the quotes lies its emotional legacy. The Princess Bride taught generations that love, friendship, bravery, and wit are not mutually exclusive. It reminded us that fairy tales aren't childish, they're essential. They let us laugh at life's cruelty while daring to hope anyway. Verdict: The Princess Bride is perfection disguised as parody, rating 10 out of 10. Or to put it another way, As You Wish. Final thoughts and Kimberloon's excellent taste. The Princess Bride is the cinematic equivalent of comfort food, warm, familiar, and always welcome. It's the film you show to children to teach them what adventure feels like, and to adults to remind them what they've forgotten. Kimberloon, you magnificent human, you chose well. This movie is proof that not all fairy tales end with a moral. Some end with a smirk, a sword fight, and a gentle reminder that as you wish means I love you, and sometimes that's all you need. For everyone else watching, if there's a film you'd like to see me, and by me I mean the ever-patient, always-suffering Alice, review next, leave it in the comments. I'll consider it. Grudgingly. Just don't make me watch The Room.